to discern because a lot of the pronunciations are akin to the pronunciations in Farsi. Like in Arabic, the word I or me is ana, A-N-A, ana. In the Gulf, they say one, which is weird. I didn't learn one. I learned ana. When I went to Bahrain, everybody was saying one, which, like I say, was weird. I never liked it. But it took me that many months to be able to discern differences in regional accents. Do native Arab speakers say that I have a particular accent? Yes. So I recruited a guy from North Africa. He did not know I was American until I told him I was American. And he said to me, I wondered. He said, you've got an accent that I can't quite pin down. He said, sometimes you have a Lebanese accent. Other times you have like a Saudi accent. And I said, well, I'm American. And I said, my Arabic teachers, two of them were Lebanese and one was Egyptian, but speaking in what's called Fusha.
Oh, wow.
And they gave him a fake eye, a glass eye. He refuses to wear the glass eye.
So that's why he's wearing the patch.
So now he has the patch. Mm-hmm.
حتى Abu Zubaydah BBC, there was something that was, there was a report. بريطانيا تدفع حتى بالإنجليزي. بريطانيا تدفع تعويض and they just gave him money.
Yeah, The Guardian broke the story. He sued the British government.
Actually, BBC English منيرة.
He sued the American government as well. And in the United States, it's almost...
خلاص. Look, Britain pays substantial compensation to Saudi-born Guantanamo detainee for life. But that's translated from the website, so that's not the actual khabar in English. But you can see, so that context is important to your case and you whistleblowing the whole thing. So
I've been in close touch with his attorneys. I should say that I am on the record. I've said publicly, and I've said it to the BBC and to the Guardian, Abu Zubaydah should be released and he should be paid for what the American government did to him.
Why should he be released if he's in the Qaeda and he did all of that?
Because he was innocent of what we accused him of doing.
What did you accuse him of doing?
We accused him of being one of the masterminds.
And he said, I knew you were going to say that. You didn't kill the janitor. You had no idea what Powell was going to do with the information. I said, I know, but I still feel guilty about it. Other than that, thank God, I never had to do it. I'm not sure how I would sleep at night.
Do the US still assassinate people by the CIA?
Absolutely, yes. When Barack Obama was president, John Brennan, in the first term, was the Deputy National Security Advisor for Counterterrorism, and he started something called the Tuesday Morning Kill List meeting. So it would be Brennan, it would be the National Security Council attorney, somebody from the CIA General Counsel's office, and a representative of the director of the Counterterrorism Center. And every Tuesday morning, they would meet at the White House, come up with a list of people to kill that week. The teams would fan out around the world, kill their targets, and then go back and meet next Tuesday morning. I guess I'm one of these people who believes in a destiny of some sort. And I'm in the position that I'm in because I'm supposed to be in the position that I'm in. This has been extraordinarily difficult. The last 20 years for me have not been easy by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, I've made friends that, you've seen my phone. How am I going to be friends with Yoko Ono or Oliver Stone or, any number of these important, crazy, famous, Jack Nicholson and all these people who've just called me to express support. Roseanne Barr sent me $5,000 for my legal fees. My son called me a couple of days ago. He just started college. He's 18. He's a freshman in college. And he said, Dad, the craziest thing happened today. He said, I took my first ever philosophy class.
I follow these issues very, very closely, and forgive me if I'm a little overly passionate about it, but...
You know, this is another thing. The Israelis always say that Iran is an existential threat.
Yes. Okay. To them.
Not to us.
Right.
Even if they had a nuclear weapon, which they don't have a delivery system for it. You know, they fired 2 rockets at Diego Garcia the other day. What they did to reach Diego Garcia, because they normally cannot fire a rocket that far, is they stripped it down so there was nothing in it. It had no payload. It was just an engine and a cone. Just to see how far it could go. And it got to Diego Garcia. Well,
did it mess anything up?
No, it was intercepted. They were both intercepted and shot down. But that
Diego Garcia is a creepy one.
Yeah.
I heard somebody told me that once that's the Area 51 of the Indian Ocean or something.
Who knows? Because nobody's ever been there.
Pull up Diego Garcia on a map. It's wild looking. It's like one of those atoll islands where it's like a big circular island and it's all water in the middle.
All water. You know, it belonged to the Brits for, 200 years. And then we just sort of demanded it. And they gave it to us.
Fascinating looking.
Yeah. It's like a Bond villain place.
Yeah.
But if you look at like where it is on the world map, it's like crazy. There's an American military base in this place.
Yep.
It was a great place to hide shit.
There was talk about making that Guantanamo.
What?
And then we decided that it was far easier just to do it in Cuba because we already had the infrastructure for it.
Quicker flight.
Yeah, much. Yeah. I don't know anybody who's ever been there.
Look at that.
Yeah. Talk about the middle of nowhere.
Good
Hey,
Lord.
if you can.
That's where you would want to hide UFOs, not in New Mexico.
That's right. If you can, go to the southernmost point of Argentina.
South America, Steve.
Able to tell people what you did for work. What did you tell family and friends you did for a living? How did you navigate and maintain the lie? Did you ever slip up, or did it just come naturally? Thanks. Great question. You know, I generally never talk to people on airplanes. I listen to music, or I read a book or a magazine or something. I just don't say anything. I was flying from Milan to Eastern Europe one time, and there was this Italian guy next to me who just would not
shut his mouth.
And high standard Arabic, which is more akin to Yemeni Arabic. But one of the ways in which we learned Arabic, we started off by watching Sesame Street in Arabic. And then little by little by little, we graduated to Voice of America news broadcasts in Arabic, which is in Fusha. But we also watched soap operas and movies. Now, the odd thing back in the 90s was all Arabic language soap operas were filmed in Egypt. And so they spoke Egyptian dialect Arabic. But all movies were filmed in Damascus. So while the soap operas were in Egyptian dialect, which is very unique, the movies were in Syrian dialect, which is more broadly understood, and it's softer, it's less harsh than both Egyptian and Gulf dialect. Like with Gulf dialect, another thing besides one, they use a hard J, like the word Gulf, like the Persian Gulf. The word Gulf is Khalij. Everywhere else in the Middle East, the J is a soft J, Khalij. In the peninsula, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, and the United Arab Emirates, it's Khalij. The other Arabs don't like that hard J.
9/11.
And what was he?
He wasn't. He was a peripheral figure. He was not the number 3 in Al-Qaeda. And even if he had done things, like I said, he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
But even if he had done the things that we accuse him of doing, he's been in prison for 24 years. 24 years. And he's never been charged with a crime.
Oh, still?
Never.
So they took him to, after the black site, they took him to Guantanamo.
Yes.
That's where he was tortured, right?
Yeah. Well, he was tortured at the black sites.
So the black sites, when he was there, was tortured, and that's how he gave the information?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't willing to give information, then he was tortured, and then he gave information.
No, it's the opposite. He gave the information to Ali Soufan. The CIA was furious that the FBI was the one getting the information. So the FBI was thrown out of the secret site, and the CIA took over, and they began torturing him.
And he immediately went silent.
Have you ever killed anybody? No, thank God. My children asked me that. And I told them very proudly that I have never taken any action that resulted in the death of another human being.
There's one kind of half exception. And I think about this all the time. In 1993, I guess it was, I was sitting in the morning meeting. I told you earlier that... And your name came up. I said, my name came up. He said, yeah. He said, the professor, who has no idea that my son is in his class, he said he gave us a case study on military ethics, and it was your story. And he said, nobody had a single complaint or bad word against you. I said, good. It makes it all worthwhile. All of it. And in the end, I've helped a lot of other whistleblowers. I speak at universities and colleges, not just across the United States, but around the world. And my last speech before COVID hit, I got a personal invitation from the commandant of West Point. And I said, are you sure you want me to come to West Point and talk to the, whatever they call the freshman class? And he said, you were the only one with the balls to stand up to them. And I said, okay, I'll do it. So I did. They paid me handsomely, plus all expenses paid and officers' quarters and the car to the airport. And it was amazing. So, sure, it's been hard. It's been costly, but it's been worth it. And so in the end, a truthful answer to your questions, I think I wouldn't really do anything differently, except, and this is what I tell all would-be whistleblowers, hire an attorney before blowing the whistle. Don't be reactive.
Ship go through a couple of days ago for two reasons. Number one, the ship was carrying oil from the Arab Gulf states. I think it was from the UAE, but carrying it to China, and China's friendly with Iran. And they paid for the oil in yuan, not in dollars. And that's like,
oh, yikes,
the nightmare scenario for the American economy. Is nobody paying any attention here? I raised my hand. I said, you break into the embassy and you steal it.
Keep them.
He says, that's exactly what you do. That's exactly what you do. Well, that's a sociopathic tendency. Like, what are we wasting all this time for? You break in. Why do we have all these people who can defeat alarms and pick locks? What are they just going to sit at home doing nothing? You fly them out, you break into the embassy, you steal it, and everybody's happy.
Now, here's the question, though. You're thinking about that, even that hypothetical, because you're not there. It's a hypothetical. Right. But you are thinking about it in the context of being a CIA spy paid by the government literally to have carte blanche in some ways to do things like this for national security implications.
That's
and
right.
I say that because if you're like, of course, I'd go in there and steal it, and they're like sociopathic tendencies. My one thing about this is, if they were someone else not working for the CIA and they were painting this situation and it was just a regular, American job and it had nothing to do with national security, would you ever say something like that or even think something like that is okay?
I'm embarrassed to say that, yes, I would think that way. And I'll tell you, when I went to Deloitte.
God, you were perfect.
Oh, man.
Until the torture stuff, you were great.
When I went to Deloitte, we had this mandatory ethics class.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I mean, and he kept asking me, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? I'm involved in the import-export business. Oh, well, what do you import? What do you export? I said, whatever, turns things into money. He just wouldn't stop. And finally, I said, look, I smuggle women and cigarettes from Eastern Europe.
Okay, are you happy now?
And he goes, oh, I don't think I approve. I said,
I didn't ask for your fucking approval.
But it's a Gulf thing. And your third question was, are there certain regions more difficult to understand? Oh my God, yes. I can't understand a word that they say in Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, and Libya, but especially Libya. And I'll venture to go deeper there. No Arab outside of Libya can understand a single word that the Libyans are saying. I don't even know what that language is. That's how oddly difficult it is. Because it's a mix of Arabic and French and Berber and Italian and God knows what. I can't understand a word those people say. Somoza was overthrown and was replaced by a group called the Sandinistas. They had been called the Sandinista rebels, and they were led by a man named Daniel Ortega. Ortega was a communist. He called himself a socialist, but he was pro-Soviet and pro-Cuban and received a great deal of aid from both of those countries. The United States at the time was led by President Ronald Reagan, and as historians will tell you, Reagan was absolutely